Okay, so part 3 of the Atlas Shrugged saga is finally here, and so we can finally complete this long story. Atlas Shrugged, Part 3. Who is John Galt? Okay, so Atlas Shrugged 3 is the final installment of the 3-part movie of Atlas Shrugged. And for those of you who don't know, Atlas Shrugged is essentially about the world is just crashing in economy, and all of the world's greatest minds are disappearing, and this name John Galt keeps showing up in these places, and now we have our movie. This one leads off where the other one directly ended, basically, and the airplane has crashed into Galt's Gulch. Dagny, our main character, is now sort of seeing this John Galt life and why everyone kept leaving. So all of these things are now clicking together from the other 2 parts. And it's strangely happy and creepy in a good way. And honestly, I like this movie. I think that it was definitely a fun movie. You can tell that the budget on this Atlas Shrugged movie is less than part 2, but it doesn't necessarily bug you because Atlas Shrugged had a very simple vibe to begin with in terms of the production value and that kind of thing. But I really liked a lot of what they played around with cinematography. Fun fact, guys, actually, I was in the running to be on the film crew of this movie, so I mean, you could argue I'm a little biased on that, but because I was going to potentially work on this film, and I think that would have been a blast. It looks like it would have been fun. The just simpleness of, when they're in Galt's Gulch and everything is perfect in Atlantis, it is all colorful and bright, and when you go back to our current world, everything is drab and they used grayish colors, and it's just little details like that, little nuances, really just added to the flavor of the movie. One of the things that I had a problem with, though, is the score. The person who composed this film clearly didn't know what they wanted to do with it, because it seriously sometimes had the cheesiest music that just did not fit. Oh hey, so I was just walking down the street and wondering how this was, and yeah, it's pretty cool. The world is pretty much ending, but it's okay. There were some spots it worked really great, so you could tell that there were moments of greatness in the music. But really where this comes down to is how did they tell the story, because the book is enormous. It's about 1,083 pages, and the famous John Galt speech that they have to do in this film, in the book, it's about 300 pages. So you have to take 300 pages and adapt it on screen. So obviously most of part 3 should have technically been his speech. And they chunked the story together pretty well. You could tell it was set up very much into acts. It didn't necessarily flow into the next one. It'd be like, Act 1, curtain goes down. Act 2, curtain goes down. Act 3, curtain goes down. It worked for me because I love the other parts of Atlas Shrugged, and this one fit in nicely. The recastings again happened. I was less crazy about the recastings on this one because I really loved the castings in Atlas Shrugged Part 2, and I wanted them to carry over, but this one, not so much. And this is not a spoiler, but Hank Rearden, the character, really takes a back seat in this one, and he was one of my favorite ones, and the casting on Francisco d'Anconia, I was not a fan of either, but he ended up, I warmed up to him towards the end. John Galt, I thought he was great. I thought he was the best John Galt they could have picked for the situation, and, the production scale they were going for, he was the ideal John Galt. No clue who he is, but he did a good job, and I gotta give him a compliment for that. If you liked the other Atlas Shrugged movies, you're gonna like this one. It is gonna fit right in, right on your DVD shelf. If you are unsure to the Atlas Shrugged saga, I'd recommend watching the other parts first, but if you want to just jump in this one because you're like, it's in theaters, I kind of want to see it in theaters, give it a shot. It's kind of a political thriller that has to do similar, I guess, to House of Cards in some senses, but most of it is actually its own gem. It's a political thriller that also deals with a lot of economy and that kind of stuff and its own ideals. And if you're down for that, then great. I'd say give it a shot. This movie, because it is a part 3, obviously there are 2 other parts, so you might be missing a few things in the beginning, but I'd say it's pretty quick to catch up. Because they actually do kind of a recap, and it's nice, because it'd been a little bit since I watched the other ones. All in all, guys, I liked Atlas Shrugged. I thought it was a good movie. I walked out of it. I did not regret anything. Actually, the only thing that bugged the living crap out of me was there were 2 people behind me who were like the most annoying theater goers. It'd be literally like serious moments, but they'd laugh anyway. And if they're watching this, they know who they are. But it'd be like, I'm dying. And then they'd be like, oh my god, they were annoying. But the movie itself was great. And, you know, everyone, when the movie ended, we were all happy, and it had an uplifting experience. I felt like the message of, you know, we can begin again, you know, start fresh, be a great society. Ultimately, the movie's ideals want us to be the best society we can be, as any is, but the way they showed it was in a very good light, and I enjoyed it. And I walked out. I did not regret watching it. I recommend it. I'm going to pick it up on DVD. Atlas Shrugged Part 3, I'm going to say, is solidly an 80%. Why such a high score, you say? For kind of me saying it's kind of a simpler, like, production scale and all that, just simply because I enjoyed the movie. For what it was, I enjoyed the movie, and I definitely could watch it again. And now that I can watch all 3 together, I definitely will. So I hope you guys are going to see it. Are you going to go see Atlas Shrugged Part 3? And if not, what's your favorite political movie? Comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Love you guys.